Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm talking to you about the narcissist's work ethic. When I do these videos, sometimes it's difficult to kind of cover all of the possibilities that could be happening with a narcissist because there's personalities still involved, right, with narcissistic personality disorder or any of the other cluster B personality disorders. There's still that specific narcissist interpretation of the world and how that comes out in their personalities. So my videos typically cover the middle of the bell curve, if you will, like what is standard for narcissists. So I want to just quickly address, like, of course, I've talked about this before, narcissists who are in seemingly altruistic jobs, so like doctors or judges, attorneys, even social workers. These positions actually give them a lot of control and they're able to manipulate what happens in people's lives, which is very appealing to a narcissist. So yes, you are going to have narcissists who will end up in these positions and or who are CEOs or even presidents of companies or of countries, because there's that element of control. But most narcissists are not willing to put forth that level of effort into work. And in fact, most narcissists will often start something and then stop it. They won't have the commitment to finishing it. They like how being in that position or starting to work on something makes them look. And so they will begin doing that thing, but they're not all the way committed to it. Same thing with once a narcissist gets a job. The narcissist likes the fact that they appear to be normal, appear to be stable, appear to be doing all of the right things. Remember that the narcissist is always about how things look. It doesn't really matter what's actually going on. It doesn't actually matter what the substantive thing is behind all of it. It's just how it's perceived, how the narcissist is perceived. So when the narcissist gets a position, it's often the fact that having the position and specifically the job title of whatever it is enough. They work, they're doing the things that society tells them to do. What else do you want from them? Kind of a thing. And so if you hire narcissists, you'll find that often in the hiring process, the ideas that they had, the things that they were talking about, the ways that they answered your questions was appealing to you. Something about them seemed very personable. You liked their answers, you hired them, and now you're getting the exact opposite. But you find yourself, a lot of bosses will find themselves trying to address this issue with a narcissist, but the narcissist, again, they perfect their craft. And so they're able to give you an answer that's not really an answer, but kind of makes you feel like the situation is resolved, but it never actually is resolved. The narcissist is going to continue to do no work, little of the things that you require from them to do, but what they're doing is just shuffling things around to make it look like they're productive, when really they're stealing other people's work, they're overhearing what somebody else had said about a meeting because they weren't paying attention or they didn't even attend that meeting. They're riding on the coattails of everybody else around them. And this is really important. Again, I mentioned this in one of my other videos where if you hire a narcissist, you're going to find that an absurd amount of energy is getting drained from your business, not just in your time or your money, but also in the turnaround of other people. And what happens is that sometimes people don't like to name names. And I've talked about this before too, where people get very uncomfortable about naming names, about calling people out, about specifically identifying that behavior in that person. People get uncomfortable about doing that. And so you might find yourself having quick turnarounds with other employees. So you won't immediately identify that, hey, the problem is this person over here who is trying to offload their work onto the people over here who keep having the quick turnarounds. So narcissists typically will not take their share of the work. They will have a lot of roundabout ways of telling you that they are doing the work, but they're actually not doing the work. And they have gotten good at picking up the information that they need in order to make it seem as though they know what's going on and that they're productive and that they're a team player. So most narcissists are trying to do as little amount as possible but have the highest benefit for them, right? So they want to make more money, they want to do less work, and this is going to be the thing that is really the motivator for the narcissist in the workplace. Most amount of money, least amount of work. And I know you're thinking like that's probably everybody at work. Most people at work have some sort of standards that they set for themselves. They're just not going to be happy with themselves if they show up and they only do A or they don't do B, right? Most people are self-governing. With narcissists, there is no such thing like that. And remember, I've shared with you guys about this before, which is that unless you set the boundaries with the narcissist is going to continuously keep taking and taking and taking. Which is why I often tell people to go no contact with a narcissist, because most people cannot set boundaries that they're able to enforce and to hold for a sustained period of time. What happens is they're very good about setting the boundary. They're good about setting up the consequences, enforcing the consequences, but only for a short period of time. The stamina to do that isn't within most people. And so eventually the narcissist wears them down and we're right back into the same repeating cycle. This is the most common thing that happens with people who keep in contact with a narcissist. They're very good about regulating their own behavior. They're very good about understanding what they will and will not tolerate. They do boundaries, they do consequences. But over time, all of that stuff fades and they go back into the same cycle of toxic rumination, of getting hooked into the trauma bond with a narcissist. And again, every time that you go back into this cycle, it's more severe that time around than it was the first time or the last time. So when it comes to narcissists in the workplace, I have a couple of videos where I address this already. If you're a coworker of a narcissist, it's really important that you follow up with the narcissist in writing. You want to have whatever kind of thing that you might discuss. If it's a meeting, if you delegate out who's doing what for a specific project, that you follow up with an email. And it's better if it's an email chain, so there's multiple people on the email. Hey, this is a summary of what we just discussed. John is going to do this, Susie is going to do that, and you have the timeline and the activity, the do out, the work listed there for everybody to agree upon. And that way, if the narcissist tries to corner you and tries to give you a reason why they cannot do that and why you should do their work, again, follow up in an email. All of this stuff you're going to need eventually for HR. I know what people are going to say. People are going to say the boss is allowing this to happen. And that might very well be true, but eventually there's never one person in charge. And if there is one person in charge, go to HR. If there's not an HR person, or if the HR isn't helpful, you can continue to escalate. Every state, for example, in the US has a Department of Workforce Bureau. So they have people who are in charge of overseeing what's going on, regardless of if this is a small family-owned company or if this is a huge corporation. There are regulations set up for this. The problem is most people don't want to enforce their rights. They don't want to have to do that work. And I understand, it's not fair that you should be the one to have to go through all of this stuff to get what you should have had in the beginning. But unfortunately, life isn't fair, and sometimes we have to do this. So I encourage you guys to know about your states and your counties' laws when it comes to the workforce. When you find out if you find out that you have hired a narcissist or that you are working with a narcissist, it's really important that you start immediately keeping track of everything. You need to start writing everything down. You need to keep a log of all of your interactions. And when possible, don't interact with a narcissist by themselves. Make sure that there's always somebody else who can be present with the conversation. So don't ever have a meeting with them one-on-one. Invite somebody else in, even if they're role in that project is minimal. You want to invite somebody else in. Again, because of that email chain, you want to include as many people as possible on the follow-up emails to the narcissist or to the boss who's in charge of a project. I want to talk really quickly about why this is. Number one, again, the narcissist feels very entitled to everything and anything. Again, it's not like what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. It's what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. The narcissist thinks it's all theirs. And so it doesn't matter if somebody else does the work. The narcissist still feels like they are entitled to the rewards of that work. And the reason is because oftentimes their thinking of this has been rewarded with the actual benefits of that in the natural world. So in other words, they've thought that they deserved it. Their parents agreed. And so therefore their parents helped get them into the right school or help get them their first job or whatever. They have had help from their enablers to get to where they are. And so it's not just a crazy thought in the narcissist's mind that that's how the world works. They've actually been living that out. They've actually done this in real life, and they continue to do it. And this is their belief. This is how the world works. They're entitled. They're owed something from somebody else. I have another video where I talked about how the narcissist's parents, they'll always blame the parents regardless of what is going on, good or bad or any kind of thing. It's going to be the parents' fault. This is because it creates that system where the narcissist can say, but I do owe it. I am owed that thing. Look at what my parents did to me, or look at how my parents didn't help me, or my parents could have done more and they didn't. So the narcissist always has this kind of way out of justifying why they think that they're owed something that they didn't work for. Same thing when it comes to the people who end up in prestigious positions, like I was talking about the type of narcissist in the earlier part of this video. Those people often got there because their family paid for their education or helped them get connected at their first job or whatever the case was. Most times, narcissists did not get into that place by themselves and even maybe didn't choose that position for themselves. Somebody along the way decided like, hey, this would be really good for you. You should do this and I can help you. And the narcissist started to think about how that position would actually benefit them. And they relied heavily on the outside help, the enabler, to get them into that position in the first place. Narcissists of all kinds will think this way, that they are owed that position simply because they had it at one time or they were promised it at one time. It has nothing to do with their qualifications or their expertise or their experience in that specific field or that specific position. It has nothing to do with that. This is about entitlement. This is about how the narcissist feels that they are owed something and therefore they deserve it. The rest of the work that goes to get it and keep it is simply not ever in the calculation of getting into that specific position. So I hope this video has helped y'all understand a little bit about the narcissistic work ethic and what to do if you work with a narcissist or if you find yourself hiring narcissists. This is a huge energy drain on companies, especially small businesses, especially startups. You can find all of your time and money and energy going in to try to manage a certain person instead of growing the company. But there's certainly a pattern to the behavior of these types of people and the way that it will affect your company or your business. I hope this video has helped you. Once again, I'm Dr. Angel Storm, and if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.